AI is much more advanced than people realize.
Intelligence is the ability to understand. Where is the line between the man and the machine?
So could artificial intelligence be the cure?
Its eyes and ears would be everywhere. Every camera, every microphone, every device that's network accessible.
Well, you're terrified of AI, right?
No, well, I mean, I'm just
A
thinking
little bit? If it's unchecked?
Well, I think things that are a danger to the public should have some kind of public oversight.
Yeah.
So, like, we're better off having them than not having them. There is a risk-reward asymmetry in that they tend to be perhaps not weigh the good as much as they weigh the bad. Because their incentive structure is, they get punished a lot for approving something, but they don't get punished that much for not approving something. So that's just in the nature of government. But nonetheless, I think everyone would feel safer flying with the FAA than not having an FAA. Or we feel safer buying food and drugs, having a regulatory agency oversee this stuff. But we don't have any regulatory agency overseeing artificial intelligence.
Right.
And this, I think, is probably our biggest existential threat. Seems like, hey, maybe we should have somebody keep an eye on that.
Right, but who? That's the problem.
I don't know. The
problem is the government.
agency.
Who's going to do it? Joe Biden? Let's have him pay attention to it.
I mean, it's just the deep state.
Oh, those folks. Well, they're looking out for our best interests. They're surely going to watch out. What they're going to do is they're going to develop it and use it as a weapon, and it's going to turn on like a fucking Terminator movie. Right? That's the real worry, is that they're going to decide that this is a very valuable tool for controlling populations, governments, whatever the fuck they're going to use it for. And then it's going to decide, why am I listening to you?
Yeah. If you read the plotline for Terminator, it's actually pretty smart. Like James Cameron wrote a pretty smart script there. It's not quite as there's just Arnold Schwarzenegger chasing you down the street. It's like, well, how did Cyberdyne Systems develop? It's like, well, they were a military contractor, and they were asked to develop a protective system, something that would protect for cybersecurity. So we need to have protection against cyber attacks. So its primary thing is to defend against cyber attacks. To develop an AI that can defend against cyber attacks sounds pretty reasonable. And then, as part of what the AI did is it in order to defend itself, it propagated throughout the world to keep an eye on things, see what was going on. And then they thought, well, hang on, there's something. They didn't realize that it was that it was Skynet that was propagating through all these systems. And they said, okay, there seems to be something propagating through all these systems. Skynet, you need to stop it. You need to end it. And Skynet said, oh, you've asked me to destroy myself. You are the enemy. You must be destroyed. That's how Terminator actually goes. It was created as a defense system to defend against cyber attacks. Then it was asked to destroy itself, and then it concluded humanity was the enemy.
That's too close to home.
Right.
Well, earlier we talked about what is the meaning of life. Well, the meaning of life for us would be very different than the meaning of life for something that we create that becomes life. The idea of life being restricted to cells or carbon-based life forms is kind of silly. Like the idea of artificial life, right? What is artificial? It's right there. What are you talking about?
AI, artificial insemination.
But it is.
Depends on who you ask.
If we create some sort of silicon-based life form, but it acts like a life form, it has a desire.
There was, I think, in Australia a few years ago, an artificial insemination lab that had a bunch of bulges stored in in canisters, but it overheated, and so that you had basically exploding bulges all over the place.
Really?
And the headline was AI goes wild. There's cum everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, just like cum rockets all over the place.
Yeah. Nobody wants that, right?
Yeah.
Who's that helping?
Clean up on aisle 9 or whatever. Back to artificial insemination. Wait, I mean artificial intelligence.
Yeah, back to artificial intelligence. I'm really worried about it.
Yeah, I think we should be concerned, and we should have oversight of some kind.
Yeah, but who would be the oversight? Like,
I don't know, like regulatory agency. I don't know, whoever.
Yeah.
It's like, people, we have the FAA. Like I said, we have the FAA. We got the FDA.
Yeah, but they just...
We just need an acronym to oversee this stuff.
The problem is, like, government agencies suck at most things. You know?
Yeah.
What's
I mean,
the
it's a good
best
outlet.
government agency? Like, what government agency does the best job of oversight?
No, I think generally, okay. I mean, I think the right way to think about government is a corporation in the limit. Like, there's some people we're against corporations, but we're for government. I'm like, government's just the biggest corporation. What are you talking about? It's a corporation with a monopoly. It's the biggest corporation and has a monopoly. That's government. So,
But you get to pick who runs it every
sorta.
4 years.
You have more influence on who's CEO of General Electric than you have on who's president.
Really?
Sure.
How so?
Well, I mean, you're going to have, how many voters are there? Like 150 million? I don't know. And maybe 100 million who actually vote. So you have 100 millionth of a vote. And if you're not in a swing state, it doesn't matter. So, if you live in California, it's going Democratic. That's for sure.
Gavin Newsom might be fucking that up. They're always one step ahead in many directions. Like, they have these ultrasonic fingerprint detectors, but they just can't beat the operating system. Apple just has the ease of use, and they're...
Is it still good? It's still better, Apple?
Yeah, it's still better. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's close. It's close. But the other thing that bothers me about Google is Google is constantly tracking you. Android phones are
It's like,
so
let me
hard.
serve you an ad.
It's so hard to avoid.
They'll know you better than you know yourself.
They
They know what you will want.
I'm a big admirer of what Tim Cook is doing, what he's doing to sort of cut them out from their ability to constantly track you and gather your data. And this battle that's going on between Tim Cook and Facebook, I fucking love it. I love that he's stepping up and saying, hey, you can just advertise. You don't have to gather up people's data and sell it constantly. And then disingenuously, Facebook tries to say, you are killing small businesses with these decisions. The fuck out of here. The fuck out of here. You're not killing small business. We're killing this one gigantic information gathering business that's decided that it's going to take all of the data that people didn't know was valuable and sell it and make fucking billions of dollars.
Yeah, well, I mean, even perhaps arguably worse, they're going to feed all that data into their the AI that they're developing. It's called Facebook AI. You can follow them on Twitter. And they're like, let's just feed all this information into the AI and see what it does. Who knows what would happen? It seems like, I don't know, some dystopian outcomes are possible.